R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You know how to spell that. So, does Jalen Hurts get enough credit, or why doesn't he get enough credit, Sean?
I think it always goes back to his college days for me. Being benched, second half, national championship game, Tua comes in, boom, throws a touchdown, win the game. So naturally, even though it became a competition with Tua the next year, it really wasn't really like you know what I'm saying? Because he had just won a national title, so he kind of gets a free pass to some degree. He gets the edge. Then Jalen comes in for Tua, takes him to the national title, but then nothing happens there. He transfers to Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. So all that transfers to Oklahoma. He becomes a little bit of a project passer in people's mind. So then he gets drafted in the second round. He doesn't start immediately. Then he starts, but they toy around with him. So he's still not getting the respect that he probably deserved from his Alabama days. And it just carries over and it lingers. And then you look at the first-time starter, takes to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, then the playoffs again. Now he's back to the Super Bowl. But everybody wants to know why he's not throwing the football well or why he's not doing these sort of things. It's almost like they don't want to give him that due. But if he was a first-round pick, top 15 pick, the conversation would be totally different. Now, all of a sudden, it's all Saquon Barkley. But he went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It wasn't no Saquon Barkley. He was running back by committee with DeAndre Swift and company. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, it's all Saquon Barkley. Okay, good. I want it to be all Saquon Barkley. If to win a Super Bowl, if that's what I need, then that's what I want to do. So people got to get up off of it and just, if he wins this thing, just bow down. You should be bowing down anyway that he's there. But once he wins this thing, bow down.
I'll tell you why. Because think about this. He went to the Super Bowl, right? And then he finished second in the MVP. So he raised the bar to a certain level. So you come back the next year like, wow, Jalen is going to be one of them ones. So when he didn't meet them expectations based on how they ended the season the next year after the Super Bowl, losing all those games at the end of the year, 5 games, it's like we expected him to be right here, especially the performance he gave in the Super Bowl versus Mahomes. He outplayed Mahomes, but he don't put up the gaudy stats like all the rest of these quarterbacks. And then he hasn't reached that level that he reached a couple years ago. So it's just like when you reach a certain level in any sport, the expectations from you is like, oh, you know, he could possibly reach that level again. But he hasn't been in MVP talks over the last couple years. And so he's kind of like settled into a certain role to where, you know what, I don't care about the stats. I'm just here to win and try to win the Super Bowl. So that's why he don't get the credit. And then you bring in Saquon, who's taken a lot of the shine off of him this year. And that's the reason, because truthfully, after that Super Bowl, you would have been like, coming into that next year, we was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. You know, but when he didn't meet those expectations, and now we're on a wait and see. Like, let's see what he do now.
He was hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Year,
yeah, he got hurt. But it's like, now let's just wait and see. So by him winning the Super Bowl, if he wins this year, it'll validate him. So now we can't help but to talk about him and say, hey, is he in that group with Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and Lamar? He most certainly will be if they win.
A lot of it, the NFL is a passing league now. Everything is catered to the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts is not the quarterback that's going to consistently throw for 300-yard games in a season. Right. And when you don't see that, you just kind of gloss over when you say name the top quarterbacks. You don't even think of Jalen Hurts because of they run the ball so effectively. But when Jason Kelce says something like that to me, he understands the value that Jalen Hurts brings to the team. He understands from being in the locker room, being in the huddle with him, the value that he brings to the team. But when Jalen said after the last playoff game, that, you know, they let me out my straitjacket, that basically was like, don't act like I can't do this. Like, y'all must have forgot that I can really do this. And that's all he was saying is, y'all up here putting smut on my name, but I can really do this if they need me and want me to. And Keyshawn, he said it perfectly. When he got benched in college, that's where it started. Tua comes in, hits Devontae Smith for a touchdown. They won the national championship. So it was like, oh, I'm not sure that Jalen can do this. And so to me, when you're a first-round pick, they're going to give you the credit if you just get to the Super Bowl. When you're not a first-round pick, you have to win a Super Bowl. And so if he wants this to stop, he can't just get to the Super Bowl. He has to win it. Once he wins the Super Bowl, he'll get his credit. But until then, Jalen Hurts will always be, what if? What if he would have won?
But there's so many other, I don't know. It's just.
But think about, look at all the guys
we
outside.
don't know we're doing television shows. Think
about all the guys, Tito, that weren't drafted in the first round that have won a Super Bowl. They've received their credit. But if you just get to the Super Bowl and don't win, they don't give you any credit.
No, I understand that. I get all of that. This is his 5th year.
In his 2nd Super Bowl.
Better yet, this is his 4th year. Because I don't even count that mess his rookie year. That you in, you out, we ain't going to play you at the end because I don't want to do that. Full-time starter, 4 years, 2 Super Bowls. 4 years, 2 Super Bowls.
In playoffs every year.
In playoffs every single year.
Everybody was signing up for that.
I don't care about the box score. I care about what I see. And I don't care that he's not throwing for 300 yards a game because all them dudes throwing for 300 yards a game, guess where they at? They're going to be with us on Bourbon Street chilling. Think about that. We're going to see all them dudes. Oh, man, look. Ain't there Jared Goff over there? Oh, man, look. They go so-and-so over there. Because that doesn't win you the Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes is not throwing for 350 in the Super Bowl, 400 and winning. Everything is just nice and easy, methodical. Don't make any mistakes. Run the football. Jalen Hurts made the one mistake. The ball got away from him. The ball don't get away from him.
Last Super Bowl.
Last Super Bowl.
Yes.
He fumbled. It got away from him. They scooped it, scored it. It would have been a match. We'd have been talking about when is he going to win another Super Bowl MVP because that would have been his first.
We've just seen swings of highs and lows with Jalen Hurts.
But are we sure? We've seen swings, highs, and lows?
Well, when it comes to the passing game, yes. Because what Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, does best is win, which we always say is the bottom line most important thing. But then we start adding a couple other qualifiers to it. He wins. That's why he's back in the Super Bowl 2 years later. And they go to the playoffs every single year. So no matter what it looks like or what we want it to look like or, you win through passing or you win through running, there's just always something with Jalen Hurts that we don't give him the credit that we would if he was passing the ball more. And I think it really just comes down to that and passing. He's also surrounded by historic talent. But for both of these Super Bowl runs, in the first Super Bowl run, they had a historic defense. So the defense was the belle of the ball. We were talking about the defense and all the sacks, and that was the big deal going into the Super Bowl, not Jalen Hurts. Now it's Saquon Barkley and the amazing historic season that he's had and the history that he passed on in order to get to the Super Bowl. So there's always like these qualifiers around Jalen Hurts because he has his talent around him, as if that's a negative thing. Everybody wants to play with talent. That's why they're in the Super Bowl. He's just a winner, and I don't know if he's going to get the credit or not. Certainly, if he wins the Super Bowl, people will be forced to. But he's been in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. We would not be talking about any other quarterback this way.
And Saquon, because people view Jalen Hurts as the trailer, not the tractor.
They don't know what they're looking at, man.
But, so what if they win the Super Bowl and now Saquon runs for over 150 yards?
Good.
Will
Good.
I
won the damn Super Bowl.
He should. He should.
I won the damn Super Bowl.
Right. Was an MVP finalist and an All-Pro the Super Bowl year. So we know he is capable of playing at that level. And in an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl, we've seen him without the straight jacket on. So it's not that we've never seen him play the way that the traditional quarterbacks play. My issue with Jalen Hurts is we give all the credit to quarterbacks. Like, you've got to have a quarterback. You've got to have a mobile quarterback. You've got to have a quarterback that wins. You've got to have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. You've got to have a quarterback that puts the ball in the right position and makes the right decision during the game. But then we're not going to give credit. We're not going to give that chunk of credit to the quarterback that's been in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls.
Don't say we, other people. Don't say we.
I think he got credit when he went to the Super Bowl. I just think this year he's not the best player on his team. So that's like, oh, well, this is Saquon's team.
But again, once again, I will say this. I've seen the Eagles with him, and I've seen the Eagles without him. Okay? That's just the bottom line. When he's been on the field, like Joey said, he's winning.
Yeah, he's one of the best winners.
He's winning. And when he's not on the field, they're losing.
Yeah.
So I can't get caught up in the box scores because that historical run that you talk about with that defense, the dude was second in the MVP conversation.
And an All-Pro.
And an All-Pro because he was putting up some pretty damn good numbers. So when you have a dude like Saquon Barkley, you don't necessarily have to throw the football all over the lot. You pick your spots when you need to. Free access, one-on-ones. You get that with A.J. Brown. You get a one-on-one on the outside, right side, throw a corner, throw an out route from the opposite hash. All those things are important. But people that don't really watch football, that think they watching football, when they run to the box scores, they look at that, they'll tell you all those other quarterbacks, who came out of his draft class, to come to think of it?
Man, he was a second-round pick.
He was a second-round pick. Because if Joe Burrow didn't come out of the draft class, then don't talk to me about no other quarterbacks in front of this dude. Because he done been in the Super Bowl twice.
Right.
The other QBs ain't been nowhere near.
Man, you got me. What draft class was he in? This is 5th year.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
In 19.
So when you start to
Joe Burrow.
No, Joe Burrow was 20 because that was
Joe
the
Burrow
COVID
was
year.
20.
I remember that vividly.
Joe was 20. I don't remember. But whoever it was, he been in 2. They ain't been in none.
Joe Burrow's on the
Was it the
other
Baker draft where Baker went 1?
I don't remember. Yeah.
2020 was
Yeah, it was Joe
Burrow,
Burrow.
Tua, and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, only one been in the bowl is Burrow.
And Justin Herbert and Tua haven't even won playoff.
Yeah, don't even tell. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying when you're looking at him. And they throwing for 1,000 yards every week.
Yeah, the numbers ain't gaudy. That's why he don't get the credit, because you want to have the numbers with the wins.
I would like to have the wins.
Yeah, I could care less about the numbers, Paul.
Because
Well, he's fine. He's doing what the team needs him to do to be where they are.
I'm glad you finally admitted
It's
that.
perceived, though, because of what you said, the historic defense. But the defense gave up 31 points in that last Super Bowl. They wasn't that historic. And so if they win this Super Bowl and
Well, they was
Saquon
historic with
runs
sacks.
over 150 yards, they're going to give all the credit to Saquon and say,
Cool.
Everybody will.
Put my hat on. I'm going to put my hat on, and I'm going to get a cigar, and I'm going to cheer,
Now,
and
they
I'm going to
shouldn't
cry.
care. If you're a Philadelphia Eagle, you don't care who gets the credit. You just want to win the game. It doesn't matter who scores or win.
But isn't there something to, even if that scenario happens, right, where Saquon goes off, it's a Saquon game, he ends up being the Super Bowl MVP, and they don't give the credit to Jalen Hurts. Isn't there something to the quarterback not making mistakes, the quarterback
100%,
managing the game,
yes.
the quarterback putting the ball in the right position,
Yes,
the
that's what I
quarterback
want him
being
to
the
do.
leader of the team? So why do we not give, and I know it's not us, I'm just saying, why is that not considered as an asset that Jalen Hurts provides? When I say that the best thing that he does is win, that's important because we've seen him be able to be elite.
They have to find something from a negative standpoint to talk about.
100%.
That's just the way it goes in the league, right? Your arms aren't long enough. You're not fast enough. His fast twitch is not quick enough. You know, I really don't like his hair is too long. It's always something with somebody in a league. That's what they're going to say.
He doesn't separate it.
He
now.
doesn't separate. But meanwhile, he got 110 catches, 1,500 yards, and 17 touchdowns. But for some reason,
He doesn't get enough separation.
he doesn't get enough separation.
Yeah.
You got to say something.
Well, switching over to the defending champs, the Chiefs successfully stopped Josh Allen on a key 4th and 1 QB sneak in the 4th quarter of the Bills' AFC Championship loss. Chiefs cornerback Keyshawn Johnson said that Kansas City had figured out that Josh always goes one way on the quarterback sneak, so stopping that specific play was easy. Easy. The Eagles' version of the quarterback sneak has its own name, the Tush Push, or as I like to call it, the Booty Scooty. So, Paul, will the Eagles' Tush Push work against the Chiefs?
I don't see it working versus anybody stopping it, what I mean. Like, it's been too successful over the last couple years. They've mastered it. They got a massive offensive line. And if it's a 1-yard deal and 4th down, I trust them to go for it with the offense, with probably the best offensive line. Yeah, as a matter of fact, they are the best offensive line that I've seen this year. I mean, we already know the percentages, 80+% success rate. Jalen Hurts has 13 touchdowns from just the tush push. I don't see the Chiefs stopping if it gets into the goal, 1st or 2nd or 3rd or 4th and goal situation. I don't see them not getting in.
They were 6 for 6 in successful tush pushes and scored 2 touchdowns and converted 4 first downs in the last Super Bowl.
They're not getting stopped.
No.
The Eagles do this better than everybody. I mean, we are now seeing the quarterback sneak because of the Eagles. I mean, they stopped the Bills last week, but they didn't really stop them. Josh Allen got the first down, but they said they stopped him.
Well, the whistle,
It was also the
second
quarterback
attempt.
sneak. It wasn't the.
You shouldn't make it that close. But what the Eagles do and what everybody else tries to copy is not the same. That's the difference. The Eagles, I don't know who came up with this, whether it was Sirianni, somebody on the coaching staff, but the way they're teaching it and the way they do it is different than everybody else. When they need a yard or less, it's almost
automatic.
a guarantee. It's like automatic. And so they said, oh, we knew he wants to go to the left. Well, you know the Eagles want to go straight down the middle right now. I just don't see a way they're going to convert it 90% of the time, 1 yard less, unstoppable.
They should be fine. I mean, the power, the push, the leverage, all of those things that they do, they should be fine in terms of picking up first downs because they're not going for it on 4th and 3 on the tush push. 4th and 1.5, maybe even 2, they may stretch it to because they can get that push. Unlike a traditional, conventional sneak, with a big quarterback like Josh Allen, he should never be stopped on a sneak. He should just never be stopped on a sneak. First of all, against Kansas City, he was too high up. Number one, regardless if he going to the left or to the right, he was straight up and down. Tom Brady even Tom Brady just fall forward because he's a big old, tall, strong quarterback, and as long as they can get that initial surge and push forward, that quarterback should be able to lean with no problem at all. Josh Allen. Now, when you start adding in Jalen Hurts and the strength of the legs along with the pushing from the tushy from behind, you add more. Don't you say a word, Paul. You're adding more to the equation. So it's an easy look. I like them both. You got a big quarterback like a Josh Allen. You can give me a normal sneak. You just give me a normal. I don't need to do all the.
He was stood up.
He was stood up. You too damn tall. Get your butt down. Use your leverage.
Very proud of you, Paul.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.